Alex Rodriguez fighting for his baseball life. An independent arbitrator slapping him with a 162-game ban for violating the league's drug policy and for allegedly interfering with the biogenesis investigation.
Alex Rodriguez is a liar, a cheat, a fraud, someone who attained the heights of his chosen field not merely and solely by the talents he was given by the gods, but by cramming his hubris, ego, and arrogance into one well-oiled ball of bluster, flaunting the rules of life in his game to become something he was not. And for that, Alex Rodriguez has paid the price. Oh, not that dramatic a price, mind you. Rodriguez was indeed banned from playing Major League Baseball for the entire 2014 season, but he was already rich several hundred times over, and his career was on the final series of at-bats before he was given the likely permanent seat. So you will excuse me if there are no well-oiled tears shed for this con artist. In this facet of the story featuring one of the greatest frauds in organized sports history, this is merely the appetizer. The main course is only now beginning to be served.
How would you describe the way you've been portrayed in news reports?
Well, I think there's obviously a character assassination. You know, I've been accused, tried, and convicted in the media.
Some of the things they've said is that you supplied performance-enhancing drugs. What's your reaction to that?
No comment. I'm a nutritionist. I don't know anything about performance-enhancing drugs.
Manny Ramirez was supposedly a client of yours and tested positive in 2009. What happened? What are the circumstances?
I have no comment.
The baseball players that were under your care, how did they come to meet you?
Allegedly under my... I have no... If you're gonna ask me about baseball players, I have no comment on any baseball players or anybody else associated with baseball players.
Tony Bosch is another liar, a cheat, a fraud, and who not long after that interview with ESPN tried to cut the best deal he could with Major League Baseball to roll over on Alex Rodriguez and every other player he admittedly or allegedly supplied with illegal and often dangerous performance-enhancing drugs. Bosch didn't ruin any God-given talent. Using his own words and admissions, we can only guess that his finest talent was that of lying whenever possible to ensure his pocket was stuffed with cash and he was able to cozy up to pro athletes and perhaps soothe some inner hero-worshipping child. Yesterday, a year to the day, Major League Baseball busted A-Fraud and his ilk. The hammer finally dropped on the rest of this despicable brood.
That charges have been filed against Anthony Bosch, one of the original founders of Biogenesis of America, and 6 other individuals for their alleged involvement in the illegal distribution of performance-enhancing drugs to minors, to professional athletes, and to others. And in addition to Anthony Bosch, the other individuals that were charged are Carlos Acevedo, Bosch's business partner, Yuri Sukart and Juan Carlos Nunez, both professional athlete recruiters for Bosch, Lázaro Collazo, a customer of Bosch's who recruited high school athletes and other individuals, Jorge Ugi Velasquez, a distributor of black market testosterone and a Bosch supplier, and Christopher Engroba, a courier who also delivered testosterone to Bosch.
Word from the feds is that the 50-year-old Bosch had already reached a deal to plead guilty to charges of conspiracy to distribute anabolic steroids over almost a 4-year time span. And his attorney says Bosch could get a max 10 years in prison. And I hope he and every one of his drug-peddling dilettantes get that max sentence and maybe a little more. Not because they sold drugs to Major League Baseball players, not because they soiled the game. Rubbish. They sold drugs to grown idiots who were supposed to know better. They deserve everything they get, also a little more. I think of the young kids who lapped up these drugs with wide eyes and ready cash from wherever they could get it, plied by Bosch and his drug runners with promises of athletic prowess and stardom. Stars in the kids' eyes being lied to so easily, stars in the eyes of the criminals just getting rich, taking advantage of those whose lives they would gladly and easily ruin for another green slip of paper. The game is secondary. The kids who may have lost years from their lives using drugs are the issue here. And I hope those years lost are the ones that Bosch and his cronies spend rotting behind bars. And that is telling it like it is. Next hour on MidPoint, the killing of an American general in Afghanistan and the sadly over-asked question, what is next for that part of the world? And what does this say about our efforts to ensure another fractured nation can stand on its own? It's all coming up on MidPoint.